The British royal family have been accused of being many things over the long years they've been around, all depending on the era in question. And I'm not talking about politics. I'm talking stranger. Much stranger. For instance, in our modern times, we're more likely to hear the conspiracy theories that the late Queen and current King and all of the royals are alien reptiles, clad in human skin. Stories created by David Icke, who binge-watched and totally wigged out over V the series, and watched way too many episodes of the classic Doctor Who. Heck, even the 10th Doctor hinted that Queen Victoria was a werewolf, playing on the very real haemophilia that was prevalent, known as the royal disease, despite that it is hypertrichosis that's mostly linked to werewolves. Though I'm not saying Doctor Who was barking up the wrong tree, as the royal family has been connected with wolves as far back as the 13th century. It's a King John legend that says he broke out of his tomb, turning into a wolf. So, you'll be less than flabbergasted to learn that these are not the first times that this has occurred. Because as far back as the 12th century, the royal family, along with other noble lines, was said to have been descended from sea monsters. I'll explain the story of Mélusine. Many years ago, it is said that an ancient Norman count once returned abroad with a new, strange wife, Mélusine, a woman beyond beauty, and in every way the perfect wife. She bore this count 4 lovely children. Yet unusually, she would never attend Mass, as she'd leave the church just before the Eucharist was given, as she was hiding a dark secret, that she wasn't a normal woman, but a creature born of the sea. A water spirit, like a naiad or a mermaid. This went on for years, so one day the Count ordered 4 of his knights to trap her by standing on her cloak, thus preventing her from leaving the church. Mélusine would attend Mass. Only she had other ideas. She tore her cloak and dress, grabbing 2 of her children in her arms and jumping out of the window, never to be seen again, leaving 2 children behind. Thus Mélusine is said to be of the devil's own, terrified of the body of Christ, and her children the offspring of Satan. And, as the centuries passed, the 2 remaining children grew up and had children of their own. But they didn't hide their true nature, no, they embraced it, growing powerful, becoming the Counts of Anjou. In 1154, when one particular Count of Anjou became King of England, Henry II, this legend gets passed on to the royal family of the lands that will one day become the United Kingdom. This tale, already pretty famous in the 12th century, gets expanded as centuries pass. The original Count was originally not named but later gets called Raymond, as the already fanciful story gets further embellished. Especially by the 13th century writer Jean Barras, a Frenchman. And if anyone still thinks the Middle Ages were prudish, should see half the stuff this chap comes up with. Threepenny Bits, Jack and Danny, it's all there, you know what I mean? Right. In his story, the sea creature known as Mélusine is given a mother, a fey creature called Précine. There is a family curse. It is based in a fabled land of Avalon. Now the focus is not so much on the sacrament of Mass, but her having to bathe in her true form on a Saturday. Now, instead of 4 knights being ordered to trap her in a church, it is Count Raymond who chances upon her true form while she bathes. She still escapes, as per normal, and the 4 children also now become 10. Oh, and there's murder. A lot is going on. Mélusine even turns into a dragon, as one does. Okay, so you're probably wondering why I didn't tell Jean de Arres's version, with the one with all the curses, the murder, instead of sticking to the one I gave. Well, I'm more familiar with the high medieval version, the tale even Richard the Lionheart and King John would have known. And to be really honest, the newer version has been done to death. Anyway. And as the centuries pass, it's also not just the House of Anjou, which includes the Plantagenets, who are implicated in this fanciful tale, but the houses of Lusignan, some houses in Luxembourg and the Netherlands. Everybody was getting in on it. But in the 12th century, even Eleanor of Aquitaine gets blamed for being Mélusine, as even though the Queen became a legend in her time, she certainly made a lot of enemies, and many nasty rumours were spread about her. After all, she was married to Henry II from the Plantagenet House of Anjou, a descendant of the Devil's Brood. And here, the 4 babies get more of a focus, as Eleanor had 4 boys. Well, 5, but it's 4 who survive to adulthood and got famous. 4 is the number known. And out of these 4, 2 perished, and 2 became kings in their own right, Richard and John. And her not attending Mass for fearing the body of Christ, this was also a thing. I mean, you can see why people made up the rumour, as while she was Queen of France, she was pretty much at odds with the Church. She lived a bawdy and debauched life that was very much incompatible with the conservative French cause. So you can see why these tales, already known, got attached to her. The sea itself has always been a source of fear for humans, as many a ship has been lost in its depths. So naturally, many tales have emerged from these dark depths. That, and we all love a good tale about a sea monster, or even a river creature. The Arthurian legends have the Lady of the Lake, a kind of water nymph who gives the king the magical sword known as Excalibur. So not all of these mystical creatures are malevolent. Some are good. And mermaid-like creatures have been part of folklore for thousands of years. The Greeks had them, the Romans, even the Vikings had them. They just didn't look like pigs. The sirens, that is, and not the Vikings. They are everywhere. Sirens with stunning beauty and a hidden secret. You find twin-tailed sirens in the Odyssey, but I wanted to home in on a specific type of siren, nymph, naiad, or whatever she comes under. Sometimes Mélusine has wings, sometimes she does not. Sometimes she has a snake-like tail. Other times she sports the famous twin-tailed siren look that people are familiar with. But all of them are the image of Mélusine. Actually, you'd probably recognise this particular image, as this version of Mélusine is pretty famous. Because this is the logo of the coffee chain Starbucks. No, I'm not kidding. As the classic image of the twin-tailed siren is from a much later evolution of the tale, where Mélusine is pretty much just a regular mermaid, a siren, often complete with mirror. And here, when I use the term Mélusine, it's more the creature than the character. The old medieval tale has long since been blended with just about every other water nymph or siren of the previous eras. In the same way we call this creature a kraken, when it's actually Catus. A kraken is a squid, not this monstrosity. As for the Starbucks picture, it may look different than what you're used to, because this is the one that was originally used, though she is sans bra, which causes some controversy, so her threatening bits are covered by her hair, though her twin tails still remain. And these days, it no longer looks like she's flashing her Jack and Danny. everything is covered up. So, what to make of it? In all honesty, unlike some of the other strange tales I've covered, which may have held a hint of logical reason, this clearly doesn't. It's very much a made-up story, a figment of the imagination, so there is no need to find the truth in this tale or work out what it could have been. There is no mystery here. Still, it's a pretty cool legend, and one that plagued Eleanor of Aquitaine. It's carried on for many centuries. And many of you will agree that sea monsters and river nymphs are a lot more groovy than werewolves or lizards. No wonder the royal family are such good swimmers, eh? Well, I hope you enjoyed the strange tale of Mélusine. And I hope you think of her next time you pick up a Starbucks cup. But not me. I'm having a pint. Thank you for watching.